Hi guys and welcome to another Dragonheir Silence God video. Guys, in today's video we're gonna jump into Talwer, the fourth boss of the Chaos Shadows. We already seen Lucenia, Jorn, and Shenekton. For all those three bosses I'm running only one comp. For this boss and from this boss onward, we're gonna have a look at my strategy as well because I have three teams for each of the boss that are gonna come up in the next few days as a guide. And Talwer is the first one. I've been able to build three teams pretty much with the same setup. They are all working in the same way. So we're going to have a look at how they placed, what is the strategy, and what are the alternatives for you. So let's jump into the boss and have a quick look at the mechanics, and then we're going to see the strategy and the team. So the boss's Talwer is a tank from the poison affinity, and he's taking more damage from lightning. Now, he's going to spawn this mushroom on the field that are going to taunt your champions. And if you place any debuff on your tank, because that is the only champion that's going to be really attacked during the fight, if you use the strategy we're going to show you in a minute. If you place any debuff on the tank, it's going to gain increased defense depending on the number of debuff that he's placing. And so it's going to reduce massively the damage that your comp is doing. Now, the build of the tank here is the most important. Your tank needs to be built with a lot of resistance to resist those debuff, survivability, and if they bring any debuff like decrease attack, they're gonna have to have also the accuracy. It's a very difficult build, and that's why the resistance in the Psychic Core for the affinity, poison, and lightning has been the first one that I've built. I left the resistance behind. I'm only building it now because I've completed the last ring of the affinity. And now I'm getting back and finishing this one. It's really not needed at the moment, but it's going to be maybe needed for the end boss. This one over here was built from quite a long time, at least a level 3. I think I finished it only a couple of days ago, but was enough for me for my gear to get to the point where I could start resisting those debuffs from the boss. Also, to completion of information, these are the buff that my alliance has already unlocked. We have unlocked them all from early on, and therefore they make the fight slightly easier. And some of the team you're going to see, they are quite low on score and probably not going to be able to do 22 million if you don't have this buff on your team. But nevertheless, they're going to maybe bring you to over 11 million. That is still more point than doing any of the domain. So there's, my opinion, is worth having a look. And also because we're going to have a look at so many champions, so many comps, I'm sure that there is a combination of this that you have and you can put on the field to defeat this boss. So let's jump back into the boss and let me show you my comps for this fight. These are my three teams that I'm running currently for Talwer. As you can see, all of them has pretty much the same setup. I'm only using 2 legendary. I've been quite lucky to pull a lot of dauntless DPS. Most of them are melee. And here is not really ideal because you're going to have to build them with resistance to resist the taunt from the mushrooms. And therefore, they're not going to be able to put out a lot of damage. The setup is the same for each of this team. We have a tank in Furpath, Altin, and Garrett. All of them built with resistance, accuracy, and survivability. They are placed in a specific place on the boards that I'm going to show you in a minute. They are supported by a healer with Vikhook, Garion, and Nathaniel, which bring also shield and increased defense, which make it quite easy. And then there is a decreased attack, a range decreased attack in Irina, Theodore, and Shook. Now, some of them are not even booked or partially booked. I'm not sure. Shook is partially booked. I've been quite lucky that it went all on the ultimate, so that's quite nice. And then the rest of the team is 2 DPS. In this case, it's more 1 DPS and an enabler. And Perkunta is really the only really valuable DPS from the Thunderbolt. I'm lucky to have Ivelios, but if you don't have Ivelios, there is a rare. Let me show you this guy. And I don't remember the name actually. And it's this rare over here, Altair. The can dish out a lot of damage for you. Is a ranged Dauntless champion, and you can easily replace Ivelios with him. So there are options. As you can see, I had to build a lot of range DPS. We have Vani, which is really surprising. She does a lot of damage. We have Yagnuts, which is also a good rare, doing a good amount of damage. Nimbus is absolutely incredible. You can pair him with any of this Dauntless range, and he's going to do a lot of damage. As you can see, two of my comps are way above the 22 million. One, squeeze it through, but it's because the two rares are obviously doing less damage than the rest of the pairing over here. Now, I've not started with 3 composition from the beginning. I started with 1, and it was composed by Furbat, Nathaniel, Irina, Ivelios, and Nimbus. I've run that comp for, I believe, the first 2 days, as soon as the Chaos Shadow boss is open. And then as soon as I've been able to build another decrease attack in Shook, and I've been able to put together this team over here with Furbath, Manda, Irina, Perconte, and Vikuk, I've moved Shook with Garrett, Nathaniel, Ivelios, and Nimbus at the time. They were doing way too much damage, and so I kept working and finding out champion that I could build, and I've built the other basically. And the last piece was Theodore, which was for me involved in the team for Losenium. And after being able to build Gigel, I've moved Theodore to this comp, and that was complete. I had 3 team working. Now, I'm gonna put on the screens also the scores for the beginning of the first team, and then the progression. As you can see, there is a pattern over here. Basically, each of this team, you can break it down in 3 supports, a tank, a healer, and a decrease attack, and 2 DPS. When I'm breaking down my team, and you're going to see this in the next bosses also, when we're going to have a look at the next 2 bosses, I am basically breaking down the support and the DPS. And when I'm trying to build the next team, I am pairing the best support with the weakest pair of DPS. And you can see over here, Nathaniel is probably the best support healer in this teams, and is paired with the weakest DPS, the 2 rares. There's a weaker healer over here, 2 strong DPS. This team is kind of average. I could probably break it down and switch it around even more. And the next step for me on this comp will be take the top one, which is this one, the Knight 29 million, take out Furbat, and try to bring in Lydia, which I got from the Epic box only recently. When I'm going to be able to do that, I'm going to be able to bring another team with my melee Dauntless and Furbat, healing them, and probably be able to do a decent amount of damage. I haven't decided yet on what boss. I don't think it's going to be Talwer, but that it will be my 13 team probably, or 14, depending if I finish another team before that. Now, to show you the placement, I have some clip also from the fights, but we're going to jump into the sparring pit, and so I can load my comps and you can see the placement and everything. Let's start from the first one. Let's start from the one that's doing the highest score. As you can see, I'm recording here the highest score for each of them. And this one is the comp. You're going to place your tank over here. It's important it's placed in this position. I'm usually placing my decrease attack over here. And then I'm moving all 3 of the other champions back in this position. So the tank is going to run forwards, and the boss is going to basically try to taunt and debuff only the tank. And when he's going to do the ultimate, it's not going to hit anybody else, basically. This champion over here, whoever you're going to place over here, is going to move in this position over here. And so whatever the boss does, it really can't hit any of your champions except for the tank. Now the tank, as I said in the beginning, is the most important. So let's have a look at the build. I build it with high resistance and high accuracy. It's a difficult build, I'm not going to lie. You need a lot of resistance to be able to get away from all this debuff that the boss is trying to put on you. You need a good accuracy, Now, I'm probably over the accuracy over here because when you consider the bonuses from the Alliance and the bonuses from the 5-mana Affinity, this is way too much. But this was a build from before where I didn't have all those buff for the bosses, and I kept it because it's working. I had to put so much attention in building the teams that if I start maxing every single piece of gear, I'm gonna go insane. You need to build good defense, and it's difficult to push a lot of defense, to be honest, when you have to get those high accuracy and high resistance. You basically gonna need the protection set because the hits are AoE, and so you're trying to reduce the amount of damage you're taking. You're looking for accuracy, you're looking for defense, you're looking for resistance on the same piece, potentially resistance chest, most likely, and resistance banner, not banner, but negative runes. If you have accuracy with good resistance sub rolls, you can go that direction too. So you can have your accuracy chest, accuracy negative rune with resistance substats. But considering that you bring in an accuracy artifact, it's much easier to go the opposite, in my opinion. And this build basically get move across on each of my team on any of the tank that I'm using. Either Garrett or Altin are wearing basically the same type of gear. Now, when it comes to the healer, you have to read the kit, obviously. They're all different, and so you need to swap a bit of gear around. Nathaniel works with Enlightenment and HP for the shield, mostly. Vikuk, it's not really the best healer. You really want to remove debuff to heal, so I'm trying to push more heal from the gear and the artifact. And with Geryon, you put Enlightenment as well. He scales from Enlightenment, so that's the way of going. Now you decrease attack champions. I put the Crown and Clean on that, most likely on each of the build. And I build them with the 0 set. I want to place increased attack with the decreased defense at the same time, something I said many, many times. And I'm trying to look also for some skill haste, so those decreased attack keep cycling quicker and quicker if I can. Now the DPS, as I said, they are all different as much as they are the healers, and so you need to read the kit. If you're DPS or people like Velius, you need to push for accuracy and enlightenment. If you have someone like Nimbus, you need to try to push the attack speed up. In this case, if you have Manda doesn't do anything with her ultimate. She only plays the attack speed up on the turrets, so you don't use artifacts that do damage on the ultimate. You need to look at the kit of your champion and understand which is the best way of building each of them. One is a raw damage dealer like Perkunte. You push for high crit rate, high crit damage, high attack, and that's pretty much it. And you use your best artifact for damage. I have only epic artifacts. I don't have any legendary artifact yet. I'm pushing for Fae and the Pillar of Trials. I'm pushing for Arena. So maybe I'm going to be able to put my hands on one of them at some point. But so this is the first team. And I can quickly load the others so you can see them. But they are pretty much the same. You put your tank over here. You put your decrease attack over here. Your healer in this position and your 2 DPS back on there. This one's going to move forward. And it's the same setup as before. The same gear as before. High resistance, high attack, nice defense. Crowning and clean. 0 set. Enlightenment and healing set on Nathaniel to help keep your tank alive. Damage and damage on a DPS. And in this case, I'm using the HP aura from Nathaniel. I don't know why he's always loading the wrong aura, but I'm going to use that one. And the last team is this one. And I don't have an aura over here. I'm going to place my tank, obviously, over here. I'm going to place my 2 DPS on the back and the healer over there. And it's the same story over and over. High resistance, high accuracy, same setup. Enlightenment over here. This is built with high accuracy, high enlightenment. with the RP nails to try to get more damage from the passive. Gobbler set, Gambler set, sorry, the Wine of the Dragon that gives attack speed on Nimbus. Push the attack speed as much as possible. And Theodore is with the Zero set, with the Crown and Clean. Try to push as much skill haste as possible, because this guy has one of the longest recharge time ever. I got it down to 21.5, but he started from, it's way too long. I don't understand why it's this long, but anyway. And he has also the recharge speed penalty, which help when he lands time to time, not always. But you're slowing down the boss and you're getting up with your decreased attack. You always have a couple of decreased attack in these teams, is what is the best solution. As I said, you can bring Lydia, you can bring Altair, they're all good option. You can bring also your melee if you want. You just have to build them with resistance and pair them with someone maybe with immunity, and it can work. They can do a lot of damage too, but it's not my case. I don't have the support to be able to run that team, and that's why I'm using that team somewhere else. I'm using it on Alton because it's a much easier boss. And so there is my special op team. Now, as I said before, I built 13 teams over 12 teams over 22 million, and 13 teams total so far. I am ranking 67 on my server, which is one of the craziest servers where Arcelon and all the big players are. I'm pretty proud of this, to be honest, because not having any legendary artifact makes it much more difficult to be able to score, easily all those points. And those 22 millions in all the teams, the gear need to be on point all the time. Having the artifact, having the legendary supports help a lot. So for now is everything, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I would like you to leave a comment down below if you can, like and subscribe, and I see you soon with another video about Dragonheir Silence God.